train and we go home. Hop on the right train and we go home.
All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam McKay, Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we're going to talk about a whole lot of stuff, and today is a call-in show, so get in on those lines at 2244-00-MARF right after our intro. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfugglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough.
Hop on the right train and we go home. Hop on the right train and we go home.
All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam McKay, Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. I hope everyone is excited for tonight's show because we do have a good one planned. Again, you can go over to marfugglenews.com if you want to get notifications directly from us instead of relying on any of the platforms to send them to you. I just got another notification from somebody who posted a video, I think 5.5 days ago. So I definitely watched their video, so good timing. Let's bring in my co-host / internet brother, and then we'll go over all of the internet stuff. Again, Dex, James, what is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I am doing just fine.
So just a reminder for anybody that is new here, you can always go over to our website and find a full bibliography of every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we are going to show you here today. Now, when you go over there, it's very easy to find today's show. Just look for today's thumbnail. All internet goes down. It is not possible. It is probable. And I'm not trying to, fearmonger there. That is something that is actually likely. It is one of the crazy disasters that is actually the most probable out of anything, and it's not crazy to believe, especially with what is going on right now. It says that of course, a ton of this is more recent stuff. We'll talk about that in today's show. You'll find all of the articles, every single article, tweet, video, picture, document on our website. And also remember at the very bottom, there's a yellow bar. That is going to have the overflow. All the stuff that we could not fit into a 2-hour time period is going to be down at that bottom page. And then also our callers will be down there. If you do want to call in today, I highly recommend right after we bring in Dex, we usually open up the lines. So give us a call at 224-400-MARF, and that number is scrolling right down below. If you don't have a touchtone phone that has the letters, it is again 2244-006273. When you get to our phone tree, make sure to press option 4 and make sure the show is live. A lot of people call when we are not live and get mad that we're not answering. So again, make sure the show is live, which right now it is 7:33 p.m. Pacific, 10:33 p.m. Eastern. So again, make sure those phone lines are open first. All right, and then let's see here. We're going to go over a ton of crazy stuff today inside the Hilton space station with luxury suites, amazing views, and cookies. If you thought a regular Hilton hotel was expensive, think again. The luxury hotel chain has announced that it will be designing the rooms, suites, and lounge areas of Starlab, the upcoming replacement for the International Space Station. Hilton will help design the interior of the private space station, which is due to be launched into low Earth orbit by 2027. We actually talked about several things that were going up and supposedly in the next few years, depending if we have a planet left to launch from. But in 2025 through 2027, there are all these stories coming out that the very rich are basically going to be sending up hotels, that there will be space hotels in the future. Now, again, most people here don't know how soon this is actually going to happen. And some even doubt that it will ever happen. But it is definitely a pretty exciting thing as far as if this did end up happening. But I bet you most of us are not going to be able to stay a night at these hotels. It says that means astronauts will get to snooze in the lap of luxury while hurtling at 17,000 miles per hour around the Earth, while the rest of us have to put up with the manky mattresses and rip-off rents. It says Hilton has previously worked with NASA to bake double chocolate chip cookies in space, so there may even be cookies up there. So, by the way, this image is one of the images that was put together as far as the other hotel. I don't know if you saw those pictures, but it was a pretty interesting story, and it had a ton of images of what essentially was their prototype of this floating hotel. There was basketball courts, there are low-gravity basketball courts, there was swimming pools, there was hot tubs, there was all sorts of stuff, and it looked like a luxurious, futuristic hotel. Now, this is the kind of stuff of fantasy and comic books and even, sci-fi movies, and now they're saying that we are in just a few years away from it being a reality. Do you believe it will happen, or do you believe that we'll conveniently have some sort of event that will stop all of this from happening? Or maybe a financial collapse. That would definitely set back a multi-billion-dollar project like this. So we will see. And I'm more referencing to the actual space hotels. And there are a lot of plans for different ones. I didn't realize there were so many competitors looking at doing that. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. And thank you. I want to say a special thank you to, of course, Irish Rebel before the show even started. Thank you, Irish Rebel, for your generous support. Thank you for supporting Independent. You actually didn't even write a message there, but thank you so much. And then Godwin Honey, thank you, and says Godwin Honey. Well, Godwin Honey, thank you so much, and I appreciate that. And, of course, thank you, everybody, for piling in. It looks like over 2,200 are already in the chat. Thank you, and thank you. San Francisco passes controversial surveillance plan. So this is pretty trippy. It says in a 7-4 vote on Tuesday, the San Francisco Board of Supervisors agreed to test Mayor London Breed's controversial plan to overhaul the city's surveillance practices, which will allow police to access private security cameras in real time. I warned you all about this, and I showed you that a lot of the more commercial or more even residential cameras were adding in these patents, or the companies behind them, like Ring and, of course, Nest, and all of these cameras were filing patents for these facial recognition software. They were also filing patents for being able to send all of their images and all of their video wirelessly over different kinds of waves. And I told you back then they were actually paying places like 7-Elevens and other businesses, $500 a month for the police office, for the police station to basically be able to access those cameras. And if you let the police access, they would pay you some sort of stipend so then they could access it, or at least the state would, right? Well, now they are basically trying to put this into law, or put it into, or trying to challenge these things that are going on. It says Supervisors Catherine Stefani, Aaron Peskin, Gordon Marr, and others ended up voted in dissent. It says, I know the thought process is just trust us, just trust the police department. But the reality is people have been violating civil liberties since my ancestors were brought here from an entirely different continent. And basically saying that they were forced over here. It says under the new policy, police can access up to 24 hours of live video of outdoor footage from private surveillance cameras owned by individuals or businesses without a warrant, as long as the camera owner allows it. It says police must meet one of the 3 outlined criteria to use their newfound power. They must be responding to a life-threatening emergency, deciding how to deploy officers in response to a large public event, or conducting a criminal investigation that was approved in writing by a captain or higher-ranking police official. Because, as long as the captain says it's okay, then you're fine. You have a fall guy. First of all, they're saying that as long as the camera owner agrees with it, that very well could be something when they sign up. And now the companies that are doing this, especially some of them, might even put that in to the terms of service that you have to click and agree to. It could be a checkable box that says in some states you may, do you want to have police access this footage or da-da-da-da-da. And they'll put it in the 15 pages of stuff that people don't read and they just check right through. And then all of a sudden the police department can access your Ring camera. They say this is owned by not only businesses but by individuals. What do you guys think of this? I'll head over to the chat. Would you allow this? Would you allow the police department to do this if you felt like it would make your neighborhood safer? Or would you say no, they can't access at any time without a warrant? And again, they do not need a warrant to do this. They again need those 3 reasons, but essentially there's a whole long list of things that could end up doing it. By the way, Ricky Cannon, thank you, says no. The Seventh Son says yes. Watchwolf says no. One on B, what's going on? President Zaddy, Zalut Marf Guy, Chang, the Anonymous Prepper Channel, Derek Bass, Arizona Raven, Jonathan Cook, JT, Mr. Beasley. No, surveillance state is slavery. Debbie Lone Wolves, Vicky K, Wired Wrong, CJ Blaze says heck no, and probably a few saying with stronger words. Lord Andrew, yeah, it's pretty extreme to see that the police, and I was telling you guys 4 years ago, the police are going to start accessing private cameras now that everything is interconnected and everything is convenient where you can check it from a phone. That also means other powers and other entities can check it with their phones or with their offices or remotely. When anything is hooked up and it's able to be accessed remotely, that means others could hack it or could get in there, some cases with your permission, and watch it. Think about this. If you had, say you have a daughter at college or something, and she has a boyfriend in college and they come home for Christmas. Well, all of a sudden your facial recognition picks up his picture, checks a database that it's at the police office. Maybe he was wrongfully accused of a hit and run or something, or somebody stole his car and hit a parked car, and then he's accused of something. All of a sudden you have sheriffs at your door at Christmas Eve and they're arresting your daughter's boyfriend or whatever, and there's not much you can do about it. This is the future of this police state that we have basically volunteered ourselves. Almost everybody now has a Ring or doorbell camera of some sort, and they think, oh, I control this. But again, that is not the case in most cases. I have a couple kind of weird things that I found out with the cameras that are already that you pay per month to get all of the footage and things like that for. If you pay the different tiers. So just for an example, say it's a Nest Cam, right? A Nest Cam, they pay a certain amount for. There's different tiers. So if you pay only a certain amount, it will only allow you to go back 3 hours on these wireless cameras. And if you go back those 3 hours, you can go back those 3 hours, whatever, and you can look at all of the events. If somebody walks by or if a dog barks or somebody talks, it will pick that up. When you pay more, you can get up to 24 hours. Or if you pay more, you can go back 60 days. What they don't tell you is even if you're on that 3-hour plan, that doesn't mean that footage isn't held there. In fact, all of that footage is held there. what was a surprise is when somebody goes and pays that fee to change from 3 hours to, say, 60 days, all of a sudden that 60 days is now available. So you could go back 2 months or a month or whatever it is. That means they were holding on to that footage of your private cameras. That's pretty freaking freaky, and I think it's honestly pretty dishonest. Oh, and then somebody needed to access the footage on that stuff and previous. They would only do it for the police, even though you own that camera, you don't own that footage. That's what I think is pretty effed up, to say the least. And then an earthquake in Mexico creates desert tsunami 1,500 miles away in Death Valley National Park. Now, remember, if you want to call in on this or anything else, give us a call at 224-400-MARF. Again, that's 224-400-MARF. By the way, thank you, the Bones and Tubbs Show, for your support. I appreciate that. G10, thank you for your super thanks on the last show. And then Carol Quanstrom, about 6 hours ago, did a super thanks on the last night's show. Thank you. Marvin Funtime, what is going on? He says, I made it. Black Sheep is here. We got WS Jen, Raquel R, Dawn the Scribe, lots of regulars. So it says that this earthquake in Mexico, of course, created a desert tsunami. A 7.6 magnitude earthquake that rattled Mexico on Monday sent shockwaves that triggered a desert tsunami in a cave system 1,500 miles away in Death Valley National Park in Nevada. It said that the 7.6 earthquake that rattled the Mexico did this, and it rocked Mexico's central Pacific coast, taking at least the life of one person. About 22 minutes after the quake struck, the tremors caused a 4-foot-high waves to slosh in Devil's Hole, the National Park Service said. Devil's Hole is a partially water-filled limestone cave in a Nye County, Nevada, and is hundreds of feet deep, according to the NPS. It is home to the endangered Devil Hole's pupfish, which depend on algae that grow on the shallow, sunlit shelf as a food source. Officials said the surprising quirk of geology, known as a seiche or a seiche, I'm assuming it's like seismic, but seiche, which is a wave that undulates in an enclosed body of water. The waves stirred the rocks and sediment on the shallow shelf and removed most of the algae growth, limiting the amount of food available to the pupfish in the short term. The pupfish have survived several of these events in recent years, said Kevin Wilson, NPS aquatic ecologist, and it says, we didn't find any dead fish after the wave stopped. So 1,500 miles away, this earthquake caused an under cave tsunami. Quite a trip. How did it do that? And again, no one felt the thing 1,500 miles away, but yet it caused a tsunami 1,500 miles away. To put that in perspective, that's like halfway across the U.S. The U.S. is how many miles? Like over 3,000. So say halfway to, from Seattle to New York, this thing happened. Pretty weird if you ask me. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. It says on Thursday morning, a second earthquake measuring at a magnitude 6.8 struck western Mexico, taking the lives of at least 2 people. It was not immediately clear whether Devil's Hole experienced the same phenomenon. So they didn't know. They didn't check the next day if it happened. One thing that I want to point out is the whole Ring of Fire have been super active. We covered last night that there's a lot of solar activity. People need to be paying attention to pretty much everything as far as earthquakes go, especially if you are on the West Coast, especially if you are in Japan. I'm sure they already do, or at least they should. And you would definitely need to pay attention if you're in California, Oregon, or in Washington. We have, obviously, big earthquakes can cause other earthquakes. That's a proven fact now. It's not debated in science. But they can also cause one at the other side of the world. So anywhere that there is a big earthquake, that could cause another big earthquake and shake up the entire planet. So just be aware. Have your plans. Have a plan with family if you need to meet somewhere, or again, practice. And then Iranians see widespread internet blackout amid mass protests. Now it says Iran has experienced a near total internet blackout on Wednesday amid days of mass protests against the government over the death of a woman held by the country's morality police for allegedly violating its strictly enforced dress code. Now that was the death of a woman held for a violation of dress code. When you hear things like this, it's like you think, oh well, we have it good here. But when you see what they have planned for our future, it's kind of scary, because it's almost like they want that for our country too. An Iranian official had earlier hinted at such measures might be taken out of security concerns. The loss of connectivity will make it more difficult to people that organize protests and share information about the government's rolling crackdown on dissent. It says that we're seeing nationwide protests over the death of a 22-year-old Masha Amini, who was detained for allegedly wearing the mandatory headscarf too loosely. Wow. So she wasn't like showing skin or something. She was wearing a headscarf too loosely. It says demonstrators have clashed with police and called for the downfall of the Islamic Republic itself, even as the president, Ibrahim Raisi, addressed the UN General Assembly on Wednesday. The protests continued for a fifth day on Wednesday, including in the capital Tehran. Police then fired tear gas at protesters who chanted, "The dictator," and "I will kill the one who killed my sister," according to the semi-official FAR news agency. It says London-based rights group Amnesty International said security forces have used batons, birdshot, tear gas, and water cannons to disperse protesters. They reported 8 deaths linked to the unrest, including 4 people killed by security forces. It said hundreds more have been wounded. Now, it says we're seeing internet service, including mobile data, being blocked in the past couple of hours. So essentially, it sounds like it says this is likely an action by the government given the current situation in the country. He said, "I can confirm a near total collapse of internet connectivity for mobile providers in I ran to the store." So here's the thing that I want to point out, and people think, oh, this is this kind of country, or this is this, or this is that, and this will never happen here. Essentially, look at what has happened. So in Canada, when there was a big protest that they really just could not control, what did they do? Well, they froze bank accounts. And they even, up there, we saw a whole internet outage around the same time. That one was said that they had a natural error. But we have seen this happen in Cuba as well, where the entire internet got shut off. This is something that a government could do and has the power to do. So if you think about an entire internet going down for a few hours in a country, that's pretty extreme. And they shut down the mobile providers. They shut down everything. So this is something that we don't think about, but this is something that very well could happen, and it could happen for a million different reasons. As far as a huge event where they say we don't want people connecting, talking, or doing anything, they could shut it off like that. In fact, the U.S., if they wanted to, they could shut down almost everything on demand as far as the internet and our cell phones and everything else. All of them, I'm sure they have programmed something into the E911 chip or something where they can obviously take over for a presidential alert. They could also probably take over the airwaves and take over the internet and take over everything else. I'm sure they have planned for that for some sort of event. But this is the thing, whether it be an attack or something done by a government, this is something that is not only possible, it is probable. If you wait long enough, something like this will happen, and it has happened in major countries. And of course, you're saying that people are depending on electrical grids and technology right now for almost all of our infrastructure now. So this is something that people need to be prepared for, and this is something that people need to think about. Now, Dex, I know that you're going to be, if you did want to pop in at all, you can. I know that we're going to be getting calls in already, and we will go over to the phones here in just a second. But Dex, let's see here. It looks like we have Yaya from L, a first-time caller, talking about the Mavstar Observatory in the UK. So we'll go back to Dex in just a second. But I do want to remind everybody, if you haven't already, make sure to go over and check out marfugglenews.com/prep. If you do want to get yourself freeze-dried foods, or if you've been looking into get prep food, this is a really great place to do it because you have meals averaging 2,000 calories per day, and they are all packaged in different kits. So you can get a 72-hour kit if you just want a 3-day package for your bag, or you can get a month kit that is in a bucket, or 3-month that is sealed in a container that can be buried. It can be put in your basement. It can be put in your trunk. You can put it in your cabin. You can put it in your truck. Wherever you want to put this thing, you can. And you'll have essentially whatever amount of time you want for food ready to go. Just add water and cook. This is, again, right now, $250 off, the largest sale since 2019 on the 3-month plan. If you get that, you can actually get a 3-month kit of all of the food you will need, 3 meals a day for 3 months, 90 meals. That also can be split up if you have 2 people. That's, of course, a month and a half each, or 45 days each. Or, again, if you have 4 people, you have yourself about 3 weeks of food for 4 people. So, again, make sure to go check that out. And that is at marfugglenews.com/prep. Not only are you going to get a discount on most things, but you are also going to be helping our independent channel. All right, Dex, let's go over to our caller. It looks like we have... let's see here. Wait, sorry, I don't want to say that. Yaya from L. Yaya from EL.
One second, Adam.
Yep, no problem. Talking about Mavstar Observatory in the UK. Updates the pole movements. And then, let's see here. Calling from Virginia.
And Adam, Yaya from L is now live.
All right, Yaya, what's going on?
Hi, Marv. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So
I'm calling in.
Well,
I got some news I want to share with the Fugle fam. There's a observatory that's following the shifting of the poles, and it's not really got as much traffic on YouTube as I think it should. And since we've been talking about it here on the channel, I thought I really wanted to get that information out there. The YouTube channel is Maverick. I think it's Maverick Star Reloaded. Hold on. We
have it. We have it up on
the.
We have it up on the screen.
And they do monthly updates of the position of the North Pole, the magnetic North Pole, and its movement. And it has been moving, as a matter of fact, 5.15 miles month over month for quite some time. And he does some interesting, experiments with magnets that show what happens when it reaches the 40th degree and what happens to a magnet losing all of its polarity, and then it flips physically before it returns back, and the poles are in opposite positions. So I just thought that I would get that out there because that was something that was on the other night that, that's something I've been following too, along with you.
And what's crazy is 5.5 miles a month. If you think about that, that's a huge movement. And then per year, what is that? 5 times 12? I mean, that's 60 miles a year.
Right.
That's a lot.
Well, the guy that I follow, his name is Gene, I think is the name of the gentleman on the channel. I don't participate or anything on there, but he says that the pole, the magnetic North Pole, is going to be at the 40th degree parallel in March of 2023. And he doesn't understand why no one in the world is talking about this, because they've literally got magnometers in Brazil and, all over the earth. They're trying to find somebody in Russia that's willing to have a magnometer and just send the monthly data to them. There's all kinds of things going on, but I don't understand myself why there's a laboratory as big as this, observatory as big as this, and nobody's talking about what's going on.
Well, they are talking about it, and I'm sure the people in the very higher ups are talking about it, and I'm sure they're hiring consultants.
But you know what I mean. It's not out
but they're not in public.
We
know. Yeah. They're hiring consultants to say, hey, like, when this happens, what do we do? And they're spending millions of dollars to fly them in private jets to come talk to 5 people. I'm sure they're talking about it. They're just not talking about it publicly. That's all.
Well, they keep talking about the change of the weather and stuff like that being the problem, and I think that the problem that everybody doesn't see is what we're exactly talking about. There's forces beyond our control that are changing things, and they don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah, how would they tell us if they did end up making any kind of big deal about the poles shifting, which there's been a million different articles by scientists and things, but mainstream media has not said, hey, this is kind of a horrible situation. They basically always say they don't know.
Event, right.
But think about this. They don't tell you if they did tell you it was an issue, then people would ask questions, and then questions are they don't want to answer those questions because they say they don't know. That's probably why they say they don't know, is so they don't have to answer the questions. But,
absolutely.
But this is, if it is moving, it's moving. But the thing is one thing I did notice last time I looked at this is it does bounce around though. Sometimes it will go backwards, or sometimes it jumps around. But I haven't followed it too closely for the last couple months. So that's, I just wonder if that is why some of the countries are now doing the things that they're doing. Maybe they feel like they're on a timeline of some sort and they're trying to get it done now, get extra land. The more land you have, or the more resources that you have, the better off you'll be. You, of course, have people like Elon Musk saying that we are going to have a population collapse, which I think is interesting when everybody else is saying that we are overpopulated and
we've got way too many people.
way too many people. At the same time, people are claiming that that in fact we actually need to be having more children, and one of the biggest threats to humanity is a population collapse. And he actually quoted on a show the other day that there are several countries where they're already seeing the result of that, where he said something like, compared it like how many babies you have in diapers compared to how many adults you have in diapers, and it makes a difference to which one you have more of. So basically, really old people and really young people. So, but yeah, I believe we've shared Maverick Star Reloaded's channel before, and many people have suggested it because you have a lot of people in the audience that have watched him. Obviously, 50,000 subscribers. There's probably a lot of people in our audience that have watched Maverick Star. So thank you for sharing another channel.
Well, there weren't that many, and I think it's just been recently that they've gained so many followers. But, I just want to thank you, and thanks to Dex for getting me on board on the phone. I didn't really intend to talk to anybody, just wanted to get that information. But there's another channel out there. Everybody check it out. It's called Mud Fossil University. They're proving that the planet is made of nothing but biological material, and it has DNA. So that's an interesting subject to get into. And thanks for letting me share with the fam. I really appreciate it, Mark.
Well, absolutely.
Y'all have a good night.
And we have the link to the channel you just put up, and thank you so much, Yaya from L. Now, remember, the link for this is on today's show. Just look for this thumbnail on marfugglenews.com, and you will, of course, find it. While you're over there, you can also check out the Friends of Marfugle. So we actually have a page dedicated to not only our mods, who do a great job. Make sure to thank your mods down there right now. But I wanted to wait until we had the peak viewers here to let you guys know. Make sure to go over and check this out. Not only can you find the YouTube channels of all of our mods, but you can also find all of our friends. Maverick Star may be added at one point, but again, we need to meet him first, or her. I apologize. But yes, it has Alaska Prepper, RA55, Bobbletech 777, Bitter Critter, Cars for Heroes, Donut Factory, Global Witness, all sorts of great people. Again, all of them are listed over there. Those are all channels that we currently vouch for. So make sure to go check that out. And again, that is the Friends tab on the top of our website. All right, And that has all of their information. If they're authors, it has their books. If it has YouTube creators, if it has, DLive, it has their channels. So make sure to go over and check that out. Stephen McMahon, I said, I agree with Elon. So get to work, Adam. Have 2 more kids. I think I'm good. I did my duty with 4. He is asking for 6, but I honestly, maybe if he does buy out Twitter and fix the social culture that is going on right now, then maybe I'll think about it. But he's backing out, so am I. He's pulling out. Wait. Moving on. And let's get back to the news. Thank you, SourCat45, for subscribing. Mark Anthony Wadhams, thank you for subscribing. Electric Crystals, perfectly imperfect. Thank you for subscribing as well. Sean Adams and Mir504. Thank you so much for your support for today's show. Appreciate that, Mir504. Thank you for supporting Independent. Chinese government has little incentive to stop the country's drug cartels from fueling U.S. fentanyl crisis. So we recently just mentioned this. This is something that is really horrible, which, by the way, Wages World, who was on our special guest last night, on top of following all the solar activity, he actually does a side hobby, which is run the Lifeboat. It's a channel that essentially focuses on addiction and getting over stuff and basically conquering some of the demons that people may have. That channel, again, I'm sure they talk about, much like the rest of the world is now talking about this new stuff that is being made over in G's country. First of all, there was the heroin that was from Afghanistan. That stuff basically disappeared overnight, and I don't know if that has anything to do with us, getting out of that country, but all of a sudden, everyone switched to something that's like 100 times stronger, 100 times more deadly, if not 1,000 times more deadly, which is this medicine here. It was originally used for like extreme cases, like they made it into a patch that would release over 24 hours. For one of my friend's grandmas had this for cancer, and it was like the worst kind, most painful cancer in the world. They had this stuff. Now people are doing it just like the other stuff, but essentially, 1,000th of the amount of this compared to the old stuff. This will take your life. And it says that large G drug networks are helping fuel the U.S. fentanyl crisis, a situation Beijing has little incentive to combat amid deteriorating relations with Washington. So this is assuming that it's not on purpose. It says since approximately 2013, Xi's country has been the principal source of the fentanyl flooding America's illicit drug market. Now, there's a couple documentaries about this stuff. They call it the blues on the street, and this stuff has taken over and just absolutely wrecked. If you've been alive for more than 40 years, then you probably remember when when crack cocaine and things like that popped up on the street, and it took over. It's like you knew when it hit an area. It was just like doof. This is the same thing. Locally here, if you go to any Walmart or any of the bigger stores where, a lot of people meet late at night, it is pretty bad. I mean, you see this everywhere. And what's even more horrible is it is, I believe by data, it's more addictive than both of the previous, successors or the predecessors that was before it. So it's even worse than a lot of this stuff. It says, of course, Singleton's assessment of the issue is shared by the U.S. government with a 2020 Drug Enforcement Administration, or DAA, report finding that G is the main source of this stuff that has now taken the number 1 spot for deaths. If you don't know this, car crashes and bang-bang events, people taking lives with bang-bangs and car crashes, it is now that those combined does not beat the amount of people that are perishing from this stuff. It was over 100,000 deaths in 1 year. I believe it was one year. It could have been less than 1 year, which is absolutely insane. So, and it says seizures from Xi's country are often less than 1 kilogram in weight, but test above 90% concentration for pure fentanyl. It says, according to 2020 NPR report, Xi drug cartels have leveraged the internet to market this stuff and chemicals used to make it, often selling and shipping the blank blank directly to U.S. customers. And then, of course, Mexican cartels have also been large consumers of the Xi drug trade, taking in shipments from Xi's country before smuggling it into the U.S. So think about 100,000 people that would be alive if there was, I don't know, maybe, a solid piece of, steel or something that people couldn't just jump over. I don't know. Just saying. After years of pressure, the Xi government took action on the issue in 2019 by heavily regulating the production of this substance in the country as part of a deal agreed with the T administration. T-Man, our previous president, the Xi government committed to investigating known fent manufacturing areas to enact strict controls over internet marketing of the substance and stricter measures on enforcing shipping regulations. So that kind of went to garbage, and apparently they're not talking about that, even that. We covered about a month ago that they actually stopped taking calls on that subject even. When all of this stuff with Taiwan went down, we covered the second they stopped taking calls on this initiative specifically. Pretty much everything from the last administration, all the good stuff, is basically undone. So, yeah. What do you guys think about this? Do you know somebody who has passed because of this? Give us a call, 224-400-MARF. Again, I'd love to hear from you. And then Lebanese banks to remain shut indefinitely after economic crises. It says Lebanese banks will remain shut indefinitely due to a lack of security protection by authorities, say their association. The announcement by the association of the banks there follow a string of raids by customers demanding access to frozen savings last week. It said that their employees faced risks which had not been mitigated. A woman armed with a toy bang bang staged a holdup at a bank on Wednesday to pay for family medical bills. There have since been other copycat raids with reports of at least 5 last Friday. Now remember, most of these people are not holding them up saying, I'm robbing you. They're saying, give me my money. The money that they put into that bank is being frozen. They are having an economy that has essentially collapsed. So just imagine that. Wherever you are, maybe you're in Europe, or if you're in the UK, or if you're in, of course, Australia or Mexico or Canada, and just imagine, or the USA, and going to the bank and they say, sorry, we just can't do that. We can't give you your money. In fact, your account's frozen. You're not going to be able to access any of the money that you trusted us with because basically the place is falling apart. We don't have money to give you. And people think that this is not a possibility. This is, again, something that very well could happen. And especially if things keep going in the direction they are going, with us essentially, abolishing all sorts of different rights and different privacies and different things like this, it could be stopped for any number of reasons. What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the chat below. By the way, pop open the chat here in a second. When will money go digital? Somebody asked. Rob Mask. Let's see here. We've got D. Soleil, Beer Juice, Michigan Lifestyle, Tony David. Colorado Crypto Chick says, take your money and crypto off of the markets. It's orchestrated for mass collapse to create a new planet order. And you guys know. Stormcrow, emissary of Sophia. So, yeah, I get what you're saying. Well, and there's initiatives that are just like out in the public, to reset everything. Think about what you have to do. You have to build up, to build back better. You have to tear down gooder. Does that? I don't think that works. To build back better, you have to tear trusses truly. Tear down. Boom. You have to build back better. You have to. I'll come up with one. I promise. To build back better, you have to take down cheddar now. If you know one that rhymes, just let me know. Email me, send me a comment, put it in the chat, call me 224-400-MARF, and then scientists at America's top nuclear lab were recruited by Xi to design missiles and drones, report says. At least 154 Xi scientists who worked on government-sponsored research at the U.S.'s foremost national security laboratory over the last 2 decades have been recruited to do scientific work in Xi's country, some of which helped advance military technology that threatens American national security, according to new private intelligence. Again, report obtained by NBC News. The report by Strider Technologies describes what it calls a systemic effort by the government of Xi to place Xi scientists at Los Alamos National Laboratory, where nuclear weapons were first developed. Many of the scientists were later lured back to Xi's country to help make advances in such technologies as deep earth penetrating warheads, hypersonic missiles, quiet submarines, and drones, according to the report. So one thing that they put in here, which is kind of crazy, it says that they were lured back so then they could get the technology for one thing that was mentioned there was the deep earth penetrating warheads, which, by the way, we showed you. I believe it was actually done by the People's Daily, which is a mouthpiece of Xi's country. It might have been the Shenzhen or the Shenwan Daily or something, or People's Daily, or one of those. But it talked about how, one, they didn't think that we could fight two conflicts at the same time, and that there was another piece that said that essentially we can get them no matter where they are, and by them I mean the U.S. They said that these deep earth penetrating missiles could actually go into NORAD and wipe out the whole thing. So even in, the deepest mountain bunker that we have that have normally for the last, however many decades have been completely safe, nothing could get that deep into the mountain to destroy something. They say now they could totally obliterate in there. It would go in, it would cause so much, just a huge blast and vibration that it would just crumble everything in the mountain. If you think about that, if there really was a structure set up in there, if it was that hardcore and it took out all of that, that means they could collapse an entire mountain. Think about that. If that all collapses, then everything would fall down, above it. But that's what they've been saying. But it says hypersonic missiles, and I'm thinking, but we were third to have those, or we're still catching up to. Vlad is the first one who said he had them. Then I believe Xi said that they had them, and then the U.S. came out with it. So we probably had them first. That's my guess. I hope that we had them first. And then they were probably stolen and made public or something. That's why I don't exactly believe that we failed a couple of our tests. Maybe it's something that we, had secretly and didn't want people to know that we had this kind of trick up our sleeves. But it says scientists were paid as much as $1 million through participation in Xi government talent programs, which are designed to recruit Xi scientists to return to Xi's country. Such talent programs have long been identified as a source of concern, but the U.S. officials said that they had not previously seen an unclassified report that described the phenomenon in such detail, naming specific scientists and the projects that they have worked on. It says the talent transfer poses a direct threat to the U.S. national security. Greg Levesque, a co-founder of Strider and the lead author of the report, said, China is playing a game that we are not prepared for, and we need to really begin to mobilize. So just want to read that last part again. And we need to really begin to mobilize. After yesterday's partial mobilization of all of Vlad's country, we'll talk about it here in a second, people are trying to leave Russia because they don't want to be called in and they don't want to get called in and go to the draft, their version of the draft. Curb Creeper says volcano busters could wipe out all of the USA but leave livable in years to come. Oh, basically saying it could wipe out all the people, but it wouldn't be nuked to where where it wouldn't, you could not do anything with it. Watch Wolf says it's too late for us to mobilize. In order, okay, Mari Close says to build back better, follow Marfoogle to the letter. I like it. We're gonna put that on our banner. Heavy Ordnance, thank you. Nature Lover, Heartbroken Survivor, and everybody that just popped in. Marianne Spinelli, thank you, and thank you for your support. Cummings 08 says, happened to me in California, 2008. They would only let us take it $40 standing in line. That was, of course, a credit union. They would only let us take out $40 standing in line. Weird. Was that after the tech collapse or whatever? I definitely need context. And then Meat Puppet 007, to build back better, you have to tear down terrifically. Shout out to the mods. That is awesome. Tear, but I think there has to be a third T. Tear trusses terrifically. I don't think trusses works either, but, we'll work on it. It will be a project. It will be homework. Hello again from Plant City, Florida. Just wanted to say spiritual warfare is real. I'm a healer/minister, and demonic attacks are out of control. They fear one name, Jesus. Is the rock, cling to him. Vic, I did not know you were a healer/minister. Vic, you've been around a long time. I did not know that. I'm sorry that I didn't. And then G State Media claims U.S. NSA infiltrated country's telecommunications networks. Really? I think they just I think they were watching old 2012 media maybe, and maybe they caught a clip of Edward Snowden, and they just found out 10 years later. They just found out NSA was infiltrating their telecommunications. Smart guys. Of course, these are intelligence agencies. It says U.S. intelligence agency gained access to Xi's telecommunications network after hacking a university, Xi State Media claimed on Thursday, which, by the way, this isn't good news because guess what they're saying? That we have essentially attacked them as far as information attack. It says a U.S. National Security Agency used phishing, a hacking technique where a malicious link is included in an email to gain access to the government-funded Northwestern Polytechnical University. That was the Global Times alleged, citing an unnamed source. It says American hackers stole core technology data, including key network equipment configuration, network management data, and core operational data. So they steal the blueprints to our most advanced jets, our billion-dollar jets, and we go in and we steal their passwords for Call of Duty. I guess that sounds equal. But really, they got into their telecommunications and, and they think that this just happened. As part of the NSA's hack, the agency infiltrated G telecommunications operators so that the U.S. could control the country's infrastructure. So if their infrastructure is so backwards that basically an email phishing scam, I wonder what they put in there. Like, oh, you just won a brand new piece of furniture. All you got to do is we'll send you the piece of furniture. We just got to first send you a check so you can cash it and then go buy it at a local store. And then we'll have you send it back to us in cash. And then we'll send you the better piece of furniture. And don't mind all the spelling errors in our email. Oh, and by the way, we're going to use this email to make you click on the link and hack. They really got him with the phishing scam. With a link, like something that most of you guys know. Don't ever click a link in an email from somebody you don't know, but apparently the Chinese government doesn't know that. Dex, now there was a few stories there.
Well, they do get a little crafty when it comes to these phishing scams, especially these types. Is they tend to send it from a message from someone you do know, and it's just disguised, even though it looks like it's coming from them.
So they sent it as Zhang's mom, right?
Yeah, they'd send you an email from your boss saying, here's the quarterly report I need you to look at. Click here.
Long Gong's mom. That's, by the way, a common name, Long Gong, in China. Linda McDaniel, keep the faith. The most amazing things happen in life when you're about to give up hope. Just a little encouragement. Much love, Foogle fam. Linda McDaniel, I agree with you, and I believe that most of the Foogle fam's been living by that for a while. Justin True, thank you so much. By the way, we put you on our friends list on our website, so check that out. In fact, I don't think you're up there. By the way, yeah, Justin True. Make sure to go check out Justin True on our friends page, and then Marianne Spinelli. Again, thank you, Stephen McMahon, Mark. Thank you, appreciate that, and everybody over on D Live. Lots of really great people. Again, thank you, everybody over there. Doesn't seem like it's populating, but again, thank you. Let's see here. Dex, let's get our next caller on the line. And while you're doing that, just to remind you, if you haven't already, make sure to go over and check out EMP Shield. This is a device and a company that's actually been contracted with agencies like DOD, DHS, and they are now officially on the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid. This is a device that, again, they make actually different devices. One that is the most popular is the car version, can protect your car from an EMP strike. In fact, all three phases of an EMP, E1, E2, and E3 phases. And it can protect you from the solar events. Again, the CME or a Carrington Level Plus event could happen, and this would protect your car. The car version is extremely easy to put in. It takes anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes if you're really, really slow to put in your car. Most people can do it. In fact, I think it's really hard to find somebody that couldn't if they do get the instructions. But again, we have Marfoogle family that have done videos on how to do it. It's really easy. And then you are protected. Then your car runs when nobody else does. If you're able to get out of a situation or get out of Dodge after an event when no one else can, that's a huge deal. Now, you can also go over and get one for your house, your generators, your boats, of course, your RVs, your motorcycles. They make one for pretty much everything. Even your ham radio, you can get a device for. Also, the Energy Solar Generator we'll talk about later. EMP Shield is making a direct device for that, and that is currently available. In fact, the only solar generator you can get an EMP Shield for is the Energy. So make sure to go check that out later. All right. That's marfugglenews.com/EMP, and you will get a $50 off discount per device. So if you get 5, you'll get $250 off. If you get 2, you'll get $100 off. And that stacks on top of any sale they run. All right, Dex, looks like we have our next caller lined up, and let's see here.
Yeah, and Adam, we have our next caller is live. And by the way, one of the Foogle fan members that did one of those videos is on the Friends page. It's Bones. So if you're looking for one of those videos, head over to the Friends page and check out Bones.
Which he is actually on the very top right there. So very easy. Go to Bones' channel, and you can find the installation. And I think
J Bear is live, Adam.
By the way, I think that's a special kind of installation because he had the against the post. I think what it was.
Yeah, there was something odd with his setup, but yeah, it took him. He had to go get an extra part, but yeah.
All
It
right.
shows it's pretty simple.
If you don't have that extra, if you don't have that setup, it's even easier. Okay, Jay Bear, you are live on Marfoogle News, and I have a link here. So what am I setting up here, Jay Bear? Looks like
hello, Adam. Hello, Dex Fugel fam. Good evening, everybody. I have something to show you. A buddy of mine about 5 miles north of Detroit shot this video with his cell phone. I'm a military vet. I've been around all kinds of different craft in my life, and when he showed me this, I had no idea what to think. And he told me he looked it up. He did a little bit of research online. I did send Dex another video, a similar video taken over New York City. We can't show it here, but apparently these things are popping up now, and I've never seen it before.
oh my
So I thought
gosh,
I'd
it's a
share it with
packing
you guys and maybe
peanut.
someone else.
What is?
You see this thing flipping around in the sky?
Yeah, it looks like a packing peanut. Only it's like it's spiraling.
Yeah, that's a good description, actually.
Well,
I was
okay.
struggling with Dex on how to try to describe it until I could get the video to him, and yeah, that's a good description. It's like a packing peanut flipping around in the sky.
Or this is the mirrors from, what is that, Superman 3, spinning back to Earth. That is
He
wild.
says it was going directly against the wind, too. And then the second video was another one. It's not the same one. He said another one followed behind it.
The way it's flying is so. It's like in fact there's a animation of Didymos, the two asteroids that they're shooting dart at, and that's kind of how they showed Didymos. There are two objects that are rotating, but this almost also looks like some of the designs of like futuristic ships that they did about 5 or 6 years ago on the Discovery Channel. Like, is that for gravity or something?
I would
like,
be interested to see more of that.
well,
I don't know, but as far as I can gather, I mean, something flipping around like that in the sky, I can't imagine it would be for like any kind of like snooping or anything. Do you know of any kind of camera that could keep up with that? At least our technology? I don't know. So what's it doing up there? What's it for?
And I'm sorry, did you say this was above California?
I've never seen that in my life. No, this was about 5 miles due north of Detroit, Michigan, and since then he said he's seen videos pop up over NYC, and I forgot one other state, but it's been multiple places by now. And this thing just flips around. And then the other one, it's got like even a different rotational spin too. It's not even the same timing.
What the heck? This is genuinely weird. Hold on. Let me restart that there. So you can see off to the right of the chimney here. I'll try to get the best. This one doesn't look like the S that the other one did, but it's got that same spiral. That is so weird. It almost looks like two objects spiraling around each other. What if the propulsion system was some sort of infinity kind of, where it's like a slingshot, where one object is constantly pulling the other object, and there's some sort of bond between them that keeps them flinging forward or something. I don't know. That's
right, like a centrifugal force kind of thing.
Yeah, centrifugal momentum
Interesting.
somehow, and then have some sort of thing that keeps it up, up in the air. Certain type of centrifugal force that would keep it spinning and up. I don't know. That's just weird. Like a tire. You know how once you spin a tire, it's almost impossible to turn it? If you hold just a bicycle tire between your arms and you spin it, you can feel the centrifugal force. I think that's what you call that force, but it stays up. Maybe you did that sideways.
Right, like once you get a motorcycle going, it wants to stand up on its own.
Yes, exactly. Wonder if you could do that sideways with some sort of hover technology and then use it as a momentum. I don't know. That is very odd. Well, great.
We got to get some people out there with some good cameras.
Well, yeah. Think about if
See if they can get
RA-55,
some closer shots of this.
if RA-55 or somebody with one of those 1,000 cameras that zooms in 1,000 times was able to get this, that would be unbelievable. Well, thank you, Jay Bear. This is an awesome video, and both of these are awesome. We'll put these on the website so then people can go and watch them themselves. And if you want to zoom in or go frame by frame, you can welcome to do that. Thank you, Jay Bear.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you, Dex and Fugle fam. You guys have a good night. It was a pleasure to be here, and y'all be safe out there.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jay Bear. And that was, again, Jay Bear. The video is taken outside of Michigan, and Jay Bear is from Michigan. That is really, really crazy. That first one is really quite nuts. Both of those videos will be linked over on marfugglenews.com, and then it will be under Jay Bear's call. So all you do is go past the overflow to the caller info, and you will find all of the links for the appropriate videos. And then hidden paragraph of Putin's decree allows 1 million Vlads to be mobilized. So, Dex, this is actually, it sounds like if this is true, then it might be more than 300,000, right?
Yeah, 3 times more to be exact, or more than 3 times more. So yeah, it's a big jump, and obviously why a lot of people in Vlad's country are kind of upset and concerned about what's coming and what this means to them, and you know who will be included. But 1 million is a lot.
Yeah, it says the hidden 7th paragraph of the Vlad's decree on partial mobilization allows the Ministry of Defense in Vlad's country to mobilize 1 million people. A source in Vladimir Putin's administration has informed the news outlet Novaya Gazeta. Says a source outside of the outlet said that initially they had discussed classifying the entire decree. Later, they decided to mark only the 7th paragraph where the number of those who would be mobilized was written as for official use. It says the number was changed several times, but in the end, they stopped at 1 million, a source clarified. The news outlet also tried to contact executive bodies for confirmation of this information, and as usually, they receive full text of the president's decrees, including those for official use. According to the sources in a few ministries, they have not received the full version of the decree, and they are not able to see it in their system of the interministerial document management. So what they are saying here is that this isn't 100% confirmed, but it's most likely one of the for official use only. So this could be BS. But if you look at what's happening, it's almost like they want us to doubt everything that comes out ever. It says the Vladian press secretary told propaganda news outlet Novosti that the claim about 1 million mobilized citizens in paragraph 7 of the decree was not true. It's a lie. Unfortunately, the same show that the TASS and the other one, they have said that, and then they've turned around and said that it was ended up being true, but you never know who to believe nowadays. And then victory or nuclear war. Putin backs himself further into a UKR corner. Dex, actually, do you want to go over this one? This is actually kind of follows up on what you were talking about last week.
Yeah, so with all the red lines that have been drawn, it seems like now he's basically said, this is a real deal, and it's not a bluff, as he called it. So he's basically said, as the headline says, he's pretty much said, either I'm going to win, or or I'm going to do this, and by this we mean nuclear. So that's sort of the as they called it, he sort of put himself in the corner, and he's got no choice but to make one of these decisions. So I think it, on one hand, probably supports the notion of him ramping up significant troop levels because he probably does not want to face defeat. He's got some pride. He's got a mission that he wanted to accomplish, and it sounds to me like if he can't get it done, he's going to, take extreme measures. But in the meantime, he doesn't want to do that. So the extreme measures he's taken are with his own country, and calling up all these reservists, potentially going to 1 million if that number is actually true. And that is all at the expense of making sure that he can win. So it's definitely not an easy position to negotiate yourself out of. And if you don't go down one of these two paths, I don't see how you're really in a position of power anymore either.
Yeah, especially if it just goes completely to crap. In his speech in February announcing the start of what the Kremlin calls its special military operation in UKR, Putin warned that anyone who dared to intervene would face the full force of Vlad's nuclear arsenal. Who dared intervene? It says this time, however, he faces a different reality. His army has experienced humiliating setbacks. His troops are demoralized and depleted, and he's facing a rare criticism at home. Which there are a lot. If you go look at their actual media, they're basically calling him out and saying, you better dish out the damage or we're kind of done with you. There's been plenty of public outcry. So that's not good either, because they're putting the pressure on him as their peers are saying, if you don't start winning, we're not going to respect you. It's not good for us over here. I hope that everything can just calm it down. Just calm it down. And then pranksters called the son of one of Putin's closest allies and told him he is being enlisted in the army, but he refused. And it was this guy's son, and this is the moment. And there would just happen to be somebody with a 200 to 500 millimeter lens catching that moment. What an amazing stock photo for this story, at least. And no, that isn't the actual guy, but what a great photo. Whoever wrote this article was like, yes, this is it. I'm going to do it twice. Pranksters called the son of a senior Kremlin official and told him that he was being enlisted in the army and must fight in UKR, and he responded by trying to get out of being drafted. The hosts of the Russian YouTube channel Popular Politics called the 32-year-old son of Dmitry Peskov, the press secretary of President Vladimir Putin, on Wednesday. The pranksters, who pretended to be recruitment officers, told the 32-year-old Nikolai Peskov that he had been drafted into the army and needed to attend a medical examination the following day. Obviously not, the younger Peskov told the pranksters. According to the video shared by independent news The Insider, it says, "You must understand, it's not right for me to be there. I have to resolve this on a different level." Isn't that how all rich people think? Like, I have to resolve this some other way. How much do you need? If I have to defend my motherland, I will step up. No problem. But you need to understand the political implications and nuances of my situation, he added. Yeah, I'm special. I'm needed here. I've got to push paper for daddy. The call comes after Putin announced a partial military mobilization as part of the next phase of his ongoing invasion of UKR. Vladian officials said that meant 300,000 people being drafted immediately. His announcement sparked panic among Vlad's country as some attempted to flee the countries and others took to the streets to protest, which, by the way, in many places they were only allowing women and children to leave, which is kind of like deja vu. It was back to that beginning of the whole thing. Dex, do you remember that in the very beginning when this all started? A lot of people tried to flee and insert... No. Wait, wasn't that on UKR's side? In UKR, they wouldn't let the men leave. They weren't letting the men leave in the section of UKR that was more Vlad supporting. That's right. So this is on Vlad's side that they're not letting men leave, and only women and children can leave. Wow, I forgot about that. For some reason, my brain was thinking that was Vlad's. That was UKR. Now Vlad's country, it's kind of reversed. Now they're doing a draft. Did you not find it odd that this was a YouTuber and it was a Vlad country YouTuber? I thought that they didn't
have much of that.
Yeah, wouldn't they be arrested or something? Wouldn't they, if they did something like that? I mean,
Or wouldn't they be, not on this platform, but on different platforms?
huh? Maybe it's YouTube. It's just pronounced YouTube over there. I don't know. Makes me want to go subscribe, though. That's pretty funny. And before we get to the panic spirals with arson attacks and street fights and manhunts, before we get to that, we'll get to our next caller. It does look like we have Don't Do Nothing calling from Washington State. And while you are getting Don't Do Nothing, first-time caller on, talking about birds acting very strange. I do want to remind you, this is the energy I was talking about. This is a solar generator that can actually be modded. It can actually be extended as well, up to 96 batteries. The head unit is extremely portable. You can add up to 5 batteries in one stack, and they all connect. The bottom and the top of each battery basically connect like Legos. These things can be locked, and then you can actually lift and take it with you. You can connect 96, but you wouldn't want to carry 96 because even 5 would be a pretty heavy load. But just the head unit with one battery is what most people end up getting for their solar generator needs. But this is, again, really awesome because you can plug in solar panels. It's plug and play. You put your solar panels out, boom, you've got power. You've got, again, power to power pretty much anything you need. Again, really, really great system. It's modular. It is also it's moddable to the point where you can actually triple the input. As you see just a second ago, they added a third unit there. That third middle unit is actually the mod that has 4 blue holes on the side there. I actually just got my supercharger, and it's really amazing because the head unit by itself, you can plug in 4 panels or 4 100-watt panels. With this, you can actually triple that. So it shows not 4, not 8, but 12 panels all inputting at the same time. So essentially, that cuts the charging time in a third. Now, just with 4 panels and the main battery and unit, it can charge in about 3.5 hours with 400-watt panels. And with the mod, you're talking about a third of that time. So really, really amazing. Again, really, really, really awesome system. So make sure to go check it out. marfugglenews.com/energy with an I. It also has some of the best technology. It is well made. It will last decades to come. Again, this is an amazing, amazing system. It is actually replacing your grid. It's going to be your grid. Also, they have now come out with the Kodiak, which is shipping, they say, in December. So this is coming up very fast. A lot of people waited months for the Flex. If you do want to get in on a Kodiak X2, it now has the lithium iron phosphate, the new technology, and this is now going to compete with a ton of other ones that are out there, only with the quality that energy puts into it. So the Kodiak X2 is really amazing. This is more for van lifers or RVs. You can actually dual link 2 of them. The bragging point on this is most definitely the longevity of it. Again, this can actually charge from full to empty all per day for 16 years. So if you were to use this from full to empty every single day for 16 years, it would still have 80% of the battery left. That is incredible. They say 6,000 charge cycles. So again, after 16 years, you would still have 80% before that degraded at all. So make sure to go over and check it out, marfugglenews.com/energy. That's INERGY. All right, and then let's get our next caller. Let's see here. We've got Don't Do Nothing. Don't Do Nothing. You are live on Marfoogle News.
Can you hear me right now?
Yes, we can. What's going on?
Hey, man. So I love your guys' show. It's awesome to be here. But all I want to say is I was out in the Columbia River the other day, and I saw a duck doing circles. Like it was a goose. And it was just doing circles and circles and circles. And we're like, first we thought it was regular goose. We ran up to it on my boat because we were on my boat. and I was with all my family and my kids and everything. We didn't take any pictures. That was the last thing on our minds. But I was like, yo, let's see how close we can get to the goose before it flies off, because I thought it would be cool for my kids to see. And it just kept doing circles and circles and sipping water. It was the weirdest thing I ever seen. I didn't even want to touch it because it looked like it was a raccoon rabies doing something weird.
When you said circles and circles, I was expecting you to say and dots and dots. But you, if you remember that, but so when, so were other birds doing it, or was it just one? So one thing that go ahead. I asked you a question. Sorry.
It was just the one.
So again, the weird thing is, I don't know if you've seen the previous shows, but a lot of people have been talking about the weird bird migrations and a lot of animals not doing things or doing things that they shouldn't. Just the other day, we covered how the Brazilian town had all of the alligators come up on land. Many people after that ended up emailing and saying that it's not normal there, that this was completely odd and weird behavior. So animal behavior is something that everybody should be paying attention to and busting out their phone and getting videos of. But yeah.
I know, I wish I did.
Do you think that was related to something going on with our planet, or what?
I think it was something related to something you said earlier about the magnetic fields, because the second part of my story is I've been noticing the birds have been flying north. I have huge fields near my house that point due east where the sun rises. So north would be to my left. And it's fall time. The birds should be going south, right? All these big flocks of birds are all going north for some reason, and I'm very confused about it. I've never seen this before, and I've lived here for 4 years, and I'm from Connecticut. And I know that these birds, they normally move north in the springtime, and they usually move south in the fall time. I just moved out here to Washington State 4 years ago. I'm like, holy moly, why is it opposite? You know, that's Alaska up there. Why are they going up there?
So, hey, by the way, there's a lot of people in chat. A few people said, well, those birds are going to end up dying. Yeah, because if they go up to the ducks flying south here. San Bon says it's true. Somebody else said that I have seen birds going the wrong direction too, and I thought I was crazy. That's I've
been here for 4 years, and I've seen, like, I'm in a heavy migrating area, and I've always seen them go the right way. This is the first year I've seen them go the wrong way, and I'm like, wow, this is not going to be a good year for the hunters.
Yeah, it's duck season, bird season, rabbit season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I was out on the river, and I saw this duck doing circles. He had no bullet holes. He wasn't bleeding. I ran right up on him, and he was just doing circles and sipping water, which is so weird. I'm like, is that a new disease? But he was all by himself. And I'm like, should I catch him? I asked my girlfriend, and she was like, don't touch him. He looks like he has rabies.
He could. I don't know, or the flu or whatever.
Birds don't get rabies. That's a mammalian disease. So I was like, okay, I know he doesn't have rabies, but still, he's acting so weird right now. I don't even want to touch him. And I could have literally grabbed him from the side of my boat.
Yeah, that is weird. Well, maybe he had, and then he kept sipping water. I don't know. Maybe he had cottonmouth. I don't know. Or they call it
I know.
quacking mouth. That's a
yeah. Oh man, it was just weird how I've been seeing these birds flying north. It's very odd. Everything is just, we all know that things are about to get real weird for us.
Well, I'm also looking at all the sea animals and all the sun. Especially watch anything regarding the hammerhead sharks. They actually navigate completely on the magnetic fields. So I'm watching anything that comes out about those sharks.
I didn't even think about this. I went to the zoo yesterday.
Yes, go ahead.
I went to the zoo yesterday, and one thing I thought that was extremely odd, the seals were all laying on the bottom and doing backflips. And like, yeah, that's what seals do, right? They just like lay on the bottom and they just do like circles upside down. the beaver was swimming down to the bottom and then laying on his back and swimming upside down in circles. And then the otters were laying on the bottom, and like no one was feeding them or anything. All these animals at the zoo are swimming upside down. That is also a very weird thing I did not even think about. I took my kids to the zoo yesterday, and I was like, why are all these animals swimming upside down?
Well, I don't know if it was this at the aquarium or the zoo, because I will say this: the zoo animals.
It was the Portland Zoo. It was the Portland Zoo. So it was their seals and their otters and that stuff. Yeah.
Well, because some of the animals will go in circles and circles because they're stuck in a little cage, but the animals at
the Portland Zoo. It's not a little zoo.
No, I know,
but
big
zoo. And I've been to that zoo before. I haven't seen them do that behavior before. I don't know. Maybe you're right. It's completely normal. But everything lately has been making me feel like animals are picking up on it before we are.
That you may be right on, and animals probably will. And animals are a big sign as far as if you really do see it. You know, they show in almost every end of the world movie the massive hundreds of thousands, and not just a few, but hundreds of thousands of birds flying. When you see, mass migrations of animals, or if you're in Yellowstone Park and you just start seeing every kind of animal running towards you, you better start running too. That kind of stuff, because the animals do know. And
or the tsunami in Sumatra when all the elephants were running up north, right?
Yes.
Everyone's like, where are all the elephants running away in Sumatra before the tsunami hit?
Yes, and there were all sorts of animals. The dogs left tourists. The tourists that were the Boxing Day tsunami. In Japan, the dogs knew much before. A lot of dogs actually survived, but were lost. So they had this whole thing after whatever it was, 20,000 people died in Japan. Many people lost their dogs, but many people actually got their dogs back because the dogs just started running and running and running, and they never stopped. And they went inland, and dogs knew to do that, which is really freaky because some of them started running 15 minutes before the earthquake happened. So think about that. How would they know 15 minutes prior to the earthquake that geologists didn't even know was possible? So, well, great call. Again, Don't Do Nothing. Interesting screen name. Thank you for calling, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I appreciate your time, and you're an awesome man, and I really love what you do.
Well, thank you, man, and I appreciate you, and it was a fun call, to say the least. I actually really appreciate your upbeat humor. And
don't forget that goose. That goose sticks in the back of my head, man.
I won't. Again, thank you so much, and don't do nothing. Have a wonderful night. And Washington State, local. So if you see weird animal behavior, please try to get it on video and send it to us. You can go to marfugglenews.com/playmyvideo. If you have videos that are right now, you have them in your phone, send it. marfugglenews.com/playmyvideo. And then Vladian panic spirals with arson attacks, street fights, and manhunts. Dex, do you want to cover this one? This is pretty wild if it's true.
Oh, well, just Vlad will tell you nothing is happening, nothing to see here. Nobody's trying to leave. The airplanes aren't full. The buildings aren't, burning, particularly the ones that do the recruiting offices and stuff like that. And all these people aren't getting arrested. So that's sort of the juxtaposition of this story. Is it sort of on one side says Vlad is saying none of this is happening, and on the other side, the media and the people and the social and everything else is coming out saying, yeah, this stuff is happening. Everybody's, kind of in Vlad's country is, I would say everybody, but enough people are upset about what's happening with this new mandate that they've put down for the calling up the reserves and creating these new laws that can hold you for, deserting and other things like that. So kind of crazy.
Or insubordination.
On both sides. Yep.
If you don't, if you're already in the military and you don't follow an order, you can also be treated the same way. Or if you are a citizen and they are telling you you need to go do this, that was in there.
What's funny is they recruited people out of the prison. So I guess if you don't do your job, they're going to put you in prison, but then they'll just recruit you back out, and then you can don't do your job and go back to prison, right? So it's like a vicious circle.
Yeah, maybe the people that are like trustees, they're like, a janitor, and they're like, I want to be in the kitchen. They're like, I'll go fight the war for a couple days and then come back and try to get roof duty or something. I don't know. Either way, there are Marfoogle family members saying that their family members in Russia, and they are saying that there is a lot of panic, and that this does scare people, and of course it does. Think about it. If it was anywhere, if they actually put in a law like this and they were saying that they're going to draft people are going to be concerned. I mean, it seems obvious. It seems crazy to think that they wouldn't be concerned. Any country would be concerned. Nana of Montana, thank you so much. Thank you for, again, supporting the show. Thank you for supporting Independent. Nana, appreciate you. Thank you so much. I don't know if you watched the shout show the other night, but I made you a weird, goofy song. Matthew Kamileski, thank you so much. They said on the local Toledo News today that the refinery fire investigation is going to keep the plant shut down for a few weeks. I saw a black SUV from New York out in front of it this morning. Matthew Kamileski, that is weird. So remember I actually said about that Toledo oil refinery, I said for what it was, this shouldn't have shut down the whole factory. But now since they're going to investigate, now they're going to actually shut it down. So it's an oil refinery. That's going to crap out stuff. I mean, that's going to screw up the supply chain. Nano of Montana, thank you. And then Dust, thank you so much. Be Real Beast. Not much to say, but God bless. Be Real Beast, thank you so much. Again, Be Real, you have been here almost every show. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for your support. And then Carol McLean, you're always great. Keep on keeping on. I appreciate that. And thank you. All right. And then we have how to break arm becomes top Google trend as Russians face conscription. So and I don't know how, is this I almost thought it was a joke, but people are considering breaking their own arm to get out of service, apparently. It says how to break an arm at home surged in Vlad's country after the president announced the partial mobilization of a population. It says the Vladian president said conscription would only be applied to reservists with the decree taking effect on Wednesday. So yesterday, essentially, right? Yesterday it ended up going into effect. Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, who spoke after Putin's address to the nation, said 300,000 men with previous military experience would now be called up. So this doesn't really make sense. If they were previously in the Vladian army, then they would already know how to break an arm at home. Because isn't that trained, like first day training? It's like, okay, here's gun, and here's how to break arm at home. I just see that in the very front page of their pamphlets. Don't you, Dex?
Of course it is.
How to break arm at home. That's kind of like, how to pay bill on phone, it sounds the same. But apparently a bunch of people are searching it in Vlad's country, sparking speculation some Vladians could take some extreme measures to avoid fighting in UKR until you realize that cannons can be shot with one arm. And fugitives, they still go after you. The one-armed man, they have no luck getting away from these guys. Finland moles barring Vladians from entering border. Finland moles barring Russians from entering as border traffic grows. It says that Finland said on Thursday it was considering barring most people from Vlad's country from entering the country as traffic across the border from its eastern neighbor intensified following the president's announcement of a partial military mobilization. So it's a special military operation, and now it's a partial mobilization, and basically they could be calling up and grabbing 1 million people off of the streets. Right now, it's only they could put in the big print. 300,000 will be with previous experience. 700,000 will be the average Joe or average Vlad, whatever. Finnish land border crossings have remained among the few entry points into Europe for Vladians after a string of Western countries shut both physical frontiers and their airspace to planes in response to invasion of UKR. Prime Minister Sanna Marin said on Thursday that the government was assessing risks posed by individuals traveling through Finland and was considering ways to sharply reduce the amount of transit coming from Vlad's country. The government's will is very clear. We believe that Vladian tourism to Finland must be stopped, as well as transit through Finland. I believe the situation needs to be reassessed after yesterday's news, she added. Said that the Vladian president's announcement raised fears that some men of fighting age would not be allowed to leave Vlad's country and prompted one-way flights out of the country to sell out fast. Finland opted to keep its frontier with Vlad's country open following Moscow's February 24 invasion of UKR, although it has cut back the number of consular appointments available to Vladian travelers seeking visas. So basically, people that are trying to be a citizen and to try to work there or do things in Finland, they have cut those down. By the way, thank you, Arizona Ice Queen, Bear Lover 92,000. I hope you and Dex are doing okay. Thank you, Arizona Ice Queen, Big Fish, Kimbria, J Girl, that's me, for the glory of Christ. Thank you again, J Girl, that's me. Thank you for gifting out Marfia badges. I appreciate that. As Dex, as far as Finland closing down, you'd think a lot of these places, they're basically saying that this is the new Adolf, right? How are they even? You would think that this would just already be done, but they still got to keep things going. They're
not alone. Other Baltic states are also saying, "Hey, we're thinking about this," or some have said, "Hey, we're not allowing any anymore." And as we saw, there are certain states you can fly to from Vlad's country without a visa. So all of those flights were immediately full. You couldn't buy any tickets. So it's interesting to say the least. But it's at the same time, if the West and these Western states are the ones that are, trying to, I guess, hold up a position against him, why wouldn't they welcome in anybody that wants to sort of defect, if that's what you want to call it, right?
Well, it's like they put that law in, so if they do try to desert, if they are called up and they already left, I guess, are those people going to be punished? Can they grab them out of other countries? Or if they just try to dodge inside of Vlad's country, then they could end up getting some pretty serious punishment. So it's pretty awakening what is going on over there, and people are still sleeping on what this is. I think this is the beginning of a much bigger conflict, and it's kind of like in WW2, everything is repeating itself. But we will see. I personally think WW3 won't be the end of the world, but it will be the beginning of a whole lot of change. And we're already seeing that change get it put into play. They're trying to bring in digital cash. They're trying to bring in the surveillance state. And, it's already here to an extent. They're already surveilling all of us, but it will be a whole lot worse where you don't do anything without, being told to or asking permission. By the way, Trinity, thank you. I appreciate that. Says Stephen McMahon says, I love your Russian accents. I can't read the rest of that, dang it. Why won't it let me see that? Dax, I don't know if you can see Stephen McMahon's super chat, but I can't see the rest of it. Nana Montana, Carol McLean, thank you.
Yes, it says, I love your Ruski accents. Can one of you do Boris Badenov for us?
Dax, do you know who Boris Badenov is?
No, I don't know Boris. I don't know his voice.
I will try. Badenov. I think I did pretty good considering I've never heard Boris Badenov, but we'll see later.
Is that from the Bullwinkle show?
Oh.
That's who it is.
Oh. Bullwinkle?
That's
the cop.
the Ruski spy and Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Oh, isn't that the same kind of character they've used for like a million cartoons in the races? Like the monkey racer and the evil guy with the mustache. I don't know. Well, thank you everybody that has popped in so far, and again, lots of great people tonight. Thank you, Don't Do Nothing. Thank you, Yaya from LJ Bear. Dex, let's go over the web only. Looks like we have some great stuff.
We do. So head over to marfugglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for the show, or open that show notes link right there in the description on YouTube. Get the rest of the story. This is where you're going to find everything that we just covered. You'll find the caller information will be down below. And then you'll find in the middle here this overflow section. So this is all the other content. So, again, the T-Man saga continues. So lots going on there. Even some people calling out what DeSantis was doing from the T-Man group, so to speak, and others not showing up in court that needed to be there. So you can find out that whole story plus a lot more. It's all there. Xi is depleting its oil stockpiles, so they think that's probably to help boost the economy. You know, they've had a lot of economical issues over there, so if they're selling off a lot of oil, and remember, they've been buying that oil at a discount from Vlad, so that's happening. Some stuff going on in the PAL of the Stein place. You want to check out that. In the science world, some interesting things about water in asteroids and offering clues on how it may relate to life on Earth if you want to learn more about that, as well as these perfectly geometric polygons of cyclones that are on Jupiter. This picture's pretty incredible when you look at it. And then something I think a lot of people might appreciate, Switzerland could be the first country to ban factory farming. So that and a lot more. I didn't tell you everything. There's more. So you're missing it if you don't go. Go to marfugglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for the show, scroll down to that overflow section, find the caller information down below, get everything. Make sure you click the friends link up above, find the rest of the creators and the moderators and everybody here. It's all one-stop place, marfugglenews.com.
And there's, of course, all of the friends, all of the mods, and all of the creators there. Make sure to go check them out. Again, thank you, everybody. Again, Mr. D, thank you. I appreciate your support. Thank you for supporting Independent. Make sure to go check out all those channels, guys, and support and check out their books, check out their artwork, check out everything. All right, and then Dex, thank you for your service tonight. I appreciate you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
Everybody, it is time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. Be safe, be prepared, and marf out. It's music time.
Train and we go home. Hop on the right train and we go home. Everybody wanna go back home. Nobody wanna go alone. Everybody wanna go back home. Nobody wanna go alone. Everybody wanna go back home. Nobody wanna go alone. Everybody wanna go back home. Nobody wanna go alone. Everybody wanna go back home. Nobody wanna go. train and we go home. Not bad, not bad, not no bad, not no one, not may I just me on the SS and now Harold McQueen, Clint and Lisa are hard. Quest are chance partners in. Dum 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 dum. Hey, I said Lisa Hall and Linda McDaniel, Justin Drew, Marianne Vendale. Oh, now back with the all coming so. Hey, else deep and make man in the way. Hey, oh, arcade and more. And anyway, down then no VI, VIC, a VI, oh no VI, 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 VI. Oh, oh, home. Hop on the right train and we go home. Hop on the right train and we go home. Hop on the right. Bring it right back and I got it on the wine. Carol McLean and the MODS. Get deep back with the mighty, yes. On the hot dog now with the holiday kids on the deep state of mind. And everybody desire. Hold not down with the voice in your also. In the McDaniel. But no bag with the mere 504. Core people and the creeper. In my bag with the VVV. On my shoes and the DTT. On the housing with SC. On the right train and we go home. Hop on the right train and